As many of you well know, a few days ago, one of the co-founders of the PirateBay got freed Svarthom was arrested in Cambodia. The government said it had an international arrest warrant out, but they didn't have an extradition treaty. But they decided to go ahead and arrest him anyway and said they will figure out what they can do. Now, in this situation, they said that the reason for his arrest was connected to alleged cyber crimes. Now, this is the actual statement given by a Cambodian police spokesman. His arrest was made at the request of the Swedish government for a crime related to information technology. Now, at the time, all of us were fairly confident this had to do with the Pirate Bay and the massive push U.S. imperialism has been expressing over Sweden in what seemingly has been expressing over Sweden in the last little while. Now, we thought that this was a push to get the man arrested so that they could eventually extradite him to the United States to face penalties by the U.S. for his alleged role in violating copyright through the Pirate Bay, along with others. Now, what's happening is that sources are saying that this is not the case, that it's actually related to a hacking operation that may be related to an incident back in 2010. Now, this is what's said to have happened according to torrentfreak.com. The hack targeted Swedish IT company Logica, which supplies services to the Swedish tax office. Earlier this year, the hack made headlines when the tax numbers of 9,000 Swedes were leaked online. In the months that followed, 2 Swedish citizens in their 30s were arrested in connection with the hack. One of the suspects in question was a member of PirateBay, the group that founded the Pirate Bay back in 2003 and was disbanded 2 years ago. Svarthom would be the 3rd suspect in the hacking case, which was previously described by the International Public Prosecution Office as a big and sensitive investigation. Now, torrentfreak.com says that they have received a source which they have been able to confirm that Svarthom is actually not being held in jail ready for extradition, although they have said that he will be extradited. In fact, he's being held in the Interior Ministry's counter-terrorism department of the Cambodian government, which seems like a very strange thing to do. The man doesn't have seemingly any criminal history. He's not even being wanted for a violent crime, yet for some reason he's being held in the counter-terrorism office. Now, to me, this seems very much like a plot that's being used to have him extradited for, well, frankly, everything that's been going on at the Pirate Bay, because he was one of the few people that did manage to get away without any real punishment and managed to avoid jail time by citing health concerns and was staying in Cambodia during that time. Now, I think I really do get the feeling that this is a plot by the U.S. to get him extradited to face punishment for crimes that he may or may not have even committed, which may or may not even be applicable given where he was at the time when he was alleged to have been actually involved in them. Now, this really seems to me like something like what's happening with Julian Assange right now. We know that the attempt to get him extradited to Sweden to face dubious charges over alleged sex crimes really is just a cover to get him extradited to the United States, where he will most likely be executed for leaking information about a criminal U.S. and criminal activity by other countries as well for exposing them. And that's why they really want him. This seems to be along the same kind of lines. Now, to actually make the situation worse, to even give more of an indication that this is a political move and not one that's founded based on justice, it seems that Cambodia may have actually been just paid off by the Swedish government. They've pledged to give Cambodia $60 million in democratic development. Now, that in itself doesn't seem to be out of place. I mean, after all, Sweden does give a lot of money to different countries which are struggling. However, the timing of it and the fact that this is 50% more than any previous donations to the government does seem to make the situation a little bit more suspicious. To me, this does seem very much like a plot to get him back into the country to face the supposed crime of the Pirate Bay and eventually be extradited to the United States. But that's just my personal opinion, and I'm sure more information will come out on this situation as time passes.